So we're expecting more devotees to come. Hopefully there should be at least another 5 or 10 groups coming through. So we have devotees from Mauritius. There's Sitaram and Maitreya and Karuna Bandar and Parshuram, who's the leader there. And we have devotees from Canada, Indulekha Mataji, and then Bharat, Shant Gaur, and also we are expecting a few more from Bharat. And we have from South Africa, Priyavat, one of the leaders in the South African Yatra. And from the UK, from Coventry and North Midlands and Croydon. So we have a good array of devotees from around the world. We are expecting more. So, but I wanted to introduce Maharaj. His shortened name is Sagar Maharaj, right? Is that okay, Maharaj?
Sure, yeah.
But I like the big name, Bhakti Rasayana Sagar Maharaj. It's nice. So I just wanted to introduce Maharaj. We've known Maharaj for some time, quite some time, about 20 years. And that's a little amazing because he looks only 21, doesn't he? So Maharaj was born in Russia, and he's told us quite a bit about his life history, and it's been a really interesting journey you've had. Sort of the anti-communism sort of feeling because it was the communist regime was so overbearing. But in the 80s, early 80s, Maharaj got a little taste for Krishna consciousness, and then it grew. In the early 90s, he moved into the temple. I think 91, Maharaj, you took initiation from in the Dumna Swami Maharaj. I think it was 91, right? Actually, can they hear me? Yeah.
Yes, first initiation in 91.
Yeah, and then sannyas was in 2016.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
traveling a lot. Apart from now, of course, this period is a little bit different, but he's doing lots of things with the UN. Yeah, in Mayapur, you started the institute there, very innovative. And I mean, apart from Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, you know, there are devotees who can really have a big impact on the way we work and the way we think. I can name 2 devotees who have had big impact on my life. One is Vyasaki Prabhu, the Kirtaniya. Whenever he comes, he speaks, he says something, he just resonates so well. We change the way we're doing things. But then there's also Maharaj himself. Whenever he gives class, he always there's always a shift in the mindset. And that's very inspiring to listen to Maharaj. So today we've got this wonderful opportunity where we're learning about a lot more about Gayatri Mantra, because generally devotees take that a little flippantly, don't focus as much, because our sadhana is the Maha Mantra, of course. But Gayatri Mantra also is a wonderful gift given to us by our spiritual master, which has a nectar of ocean of nectar within it. So, of course, that means Gayatri means Brahman, and today Maharaj will give us some hints about what sort of qualities a Brahman should have. So I'd like to pass it on to Maharaj, and I'd like to thank him again for joining us and giving us his wisdom and his association.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Nabinandan Prabhu, and thank you all the devotees who joined this class, despite of probably knowing that I'll be here. And we wanted to start in a traditional way by offering our respects to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas, chant Mangalacharana prayers in a short form, and then I wanted to also say a few words about the course. Om Agyantimirandasya Ginanjana Samakaya Chaksharan Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Mutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So before we begin, I wanted to introduce a work done by Nabinandan Prabhu, and he prepared a very wonderful slideshow in connection with the topic, which I could share on my screen.
Yeah. Okay.
If I can,
yes, you can.
If I can do that. And so, thank you, Dan. Hare Krishna. So you should be able to see that in a minute.
Yeah.
And so we'll start with the beginning, start from the first slide. Yeah. So I'm doing this presentation as a service to Nabinandan Prabhu, and while speaking, I'll be also learning a few things along the way myself. Yes, this is how it is in Krishna consciousness, that we only speak to find out what we know, right? And if I will get stuck with something, I'll be asking his help.
No.
Because he's very knowledgeable Vaishnava, and it's always good. But I'm sure whatever he prepared, is very authoritative, and it is, very deep. So I'm looking forward to this journey together with you. Hare Krishna. So let's see what's in there. So the first point is Brahmanas are most loved by Krishna. Krishna likes the Brahmanas who recite the Vedic mantras, help others in understanding the Vedic mantras, who are pure in consciousness, and always think of him. Yeah, so we know that Krishna is Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishna Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Krishna is Brahmanya Dev. He is the deity of Brahmanas. Brahmanas love Krishna and Krishna loves Brahmanas. But Brahmana means one who is qualified. So the perfect examples of Brahmanas are those Brahmanas who brought forth Lord Krishna in front of Maharaj Nabi because of their purity in consciousness. So, because Nabi Nandan Prabhu, his name suggests that he is the servant of the son of Maharaj Nabi. So maybe it's an appropriate quote so that he would say few words about this quote. Can you please enlighten us about the perfect examples of Brahmanas? Lord Krishna in front of Maharaj Nabi.
You put me right on the spot, Maharaj. I wish I hadn't done it. No, this is basically, I was looking for, in the Bhagavatam, for examples where Krishna's, or Lord Vishnu is glorifying the Brahmanas. And funny enough, there are a few quotes, but this was the really where Lord Vishnu is so very clear in his wording. how he's glorifying the Brahmanas. And it happens to be Maharaj Nabi, who is the father of Rishabdev. And in order to have the Lord as his son, he had the Brahmanas perform yajna. And Lord Vishnu was so pleased with the Brahmins. He said, I consider the Brahmanas who are well qualified with Brahmanical qualities to be as good as my own mouth. So you can see, if one is a qualified Brahman, then we become very dear to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So this is really what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice.
No, thank you. Please don't call upon me. We want to hear you.
In relation to Maharaj Nabi, I could not resist. So, all right, so we'll carry on. If those Brahmanas were not pure, then how could they bring Krishna in front of Maharaj Nabi in the sacrificial arena? So, yes, that definitely purity is the force, right? Purity is the quality which helps us in attracting the Lord, because he is the source of the purity. And that's why he is attracted by the purity of Brahmanas. So Lord Vishnu himself spoke the following words to the Brahmana sages on appearing in the sacrificial arena when they were performing the yajna. So let's see. This is Canto 5, Chapter 3, Text 17. Aho bataham risayo bhavadbi avitatha girbi varam asulabham abiya chitoya tamushatmaja maya sadrisho bhuyatiti mamaham eva virupa kaivalyat adapi brahmavadanam risha ba nam risha bhavitum arhati mamayva himukham bhat vijadeva kulam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, O great sages, I am certainly very pleased with your prayers. You are all truthful. You have prayed for the benediction of a son like me for King Nabi. But this is very difficult to obtain, since I am the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Person, without a second. And since no one is equal to me, another personality like me is not possible to find. In any case, because you are all qualified Brahmanas, your vibrations should not prove untrue. I consider the Brahmanas who are well qualified with Brahminical qualities to be as good as my own mouth. So this is very interesting, because Brahmanas are practicing their truthfulness by trying to speak words which are true in the past, right? They speak about the past and present, and they always say the truth. But when they develop their qualification of truthfulness, then whatever they say in future, which didn't happen yet, but they predict something which will happen in the future. And the Lord is so pleased with their quality of truthfulness that he makes their words true. So he is standing behind their words, right? But in order to obtain this qualification, we need to very seriously practice truthfulness, which, as we know, is the last pillar or the last leg of Dharma, right? So if we're truthful, then we can actually, whatever we say will become true also. So this is how it works. Okay, so another quote in the Vishnu Purana 1.1965, it is stated, my Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society. And so this is the famous Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govinda Namo Namaha prayer. So then we'll be looking at the qualities of Brahmanas. And,
you just press it down, press the down key, Maharaj. The rest will come.
Okay. All right. So, have you made these acronyms into something?
Only,
or it's just...
Yeah, it's basically those attending Hare Krishna program regularly, sincerely will profit. So it's the first letter of each of those attending Hare Krishna program regularly, sincerely will profit. And then the TAHKPRSWP is the acronym effectively. So it's just the one way to remember these five. The easier way is by remembering the Sanskrit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Lord Krishna describes the qualities of Brahmanas in Bhagavad Gita. Samoda Mata Paushucham Chanti Rajamavacha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Svabhavajam. So these are the 9 qualities, right?
Yeah.
Of Brahmanas.
Yes.
Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Gita 18:42. These qualities of Brahmanas can be easily remembered by taking out the first alphabet of the words and framing the sentence as below. All right, so shall we move on?
Yes, Maharaj.
So if we try to imbibe these qualities, then Krishna will be pleased and one can advance in spiritual life by his causeless mercy. In the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna distinguishes occupations as those of the intellectual Brahmana, the administrator, Kshatriya, the farmer or merchant, Vaishya, and the laborer, Shudra. This classification enables people to work according to their natures. Lord Sri Krishna introduces the priestly or intellectual class of people as Brahmanas, characterized by the inherent qualities given in the text quoted above. To lead people to the correct path, where they will live a pious life, that gradually leads them towards God. The priority class is whatever. It looks like the slide is a little bit. What does it say?
No, you had it, Maharaj. To lead the people to the correct path where they will live a pious life that gradually leads them towards God. The priestly class is required.
Oh, required, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. The required was missing. So natural occupational divisions exist in every country. For example, every religion has a priestly class akin to the Brahmanas. The members of the priestly class in any religion can be considered to be Brahmanas. So Brahmanas are those who are connecting people to God. So very important function, right?
Yeah.
From that point of view, the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita are universal, even though they originated in Bharat. That's a very nice point. Yes, that actually the divisions are always there. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Varnashram is existing in a seed form in every country. That you can see, for example, UK, that you have Palace of Common, right? This is for common people. But then you have Palace of a house, sorry.
Yeah.
house of common for ordinary folks, who made it from the bottom to the top, but then you have house of lords, and then you have the lords spiritual, right? You have spiritual leaders, the priests, Christian priests, and so yeah, they are connecting people to the Supreme Lord, right? And they are meant to be much more qualified than worldly leaders, right? So yeah, universality of Bhagavad Gita is very important for us to understand. It's very interesting that Srila Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is not another religion, it's a spiritual science. And so we should understand and be able to present Krishna consciousness in scientific terms also, right? See above and beyond the limitations of caste, creed, color, and religion. That's really important for all of us. Think in terms of principles rather than details. So every society all over the world has the intelligent or priestly class, the administrative class, the mercantile class, and the worker class. One can easily classify people in every country into such 4 classifications based on their inherent nature, svabhava, or occupation. The member of the intelligent group of human beings need not be hereditary Brahmanas. To honestly determine who is a real Brahmana, it is best to understand clearly the Brahminical qualities. So that's a very important point, because knife is a very good thing, that you need knife for so many purposes, right? You cannot cut your veggies, you cannot cut your bread without knife, right? We have to use knife in our daily lives, especially if you're cooking. But then you can see knife is also used for so many bad purposes. Like, I don't know what's happening. Oh, actually, probably that problem subsided due to the lockdown, but
yeah,
London was suffering from knife crime very badly, right? And so we can see same knife can be used for good purposes and can be used for bad purposes. In the same way, Varnashram can be Daivi, divine, but can be Asuric, also demoniac. And actually, Daivi Varnashram, this is what we want to establish, because Daivi Varnashram is synonymous to Sanatana Dharma. But mostly what's happening on the planet, Asuric Varnashram becomes very popular. And what does Asuric Varnashram means? People have position but no quality. So that is Asuric, right? Occupied position, and they claim the fame just on the birthright, hereditary position, Brahminical position. I mean, most of you are from Bharat, so you know very well how screwed the Brahmanas in India can be, right? So just that the judge's son is not a judge unless he qualifies himself as I don't see
judge, as a judge. A
as
Brahman,
a judge.
yeah, a Brahman son is not a Brahman unless he possesses the Brahmanical qualities.
Okay, yeah.
These principles apply to Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this is misunderstood and misapplied in the so-called caste system. The Vedic literature tells us that there are 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. These modes influence all aspects of the material energy, including people's natures, and are the basis of the 4 classifications of society. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions are created by me. So this is very important to note that Krishna says, Guna karma vibhagashaha. What is guna? Guna means quality, right? And what is karma? Karma means activity. Is birth mentioned in this verse? Thus Krishna says, Janma karma vibhagashaha. He doesn't say Janma karma. He says Guna karma. So that verse is one of numerous proofs that hereditary caste Brahmanas have no position, right? If they don't have qualities and if they don't act accordingly, then they cannot claim to be Brahmanas, even though they are born in Brahmana families. Yeah, maybe Nabhinandan Prabhu wants to add something to that point because it's a crucial point.
No, it's good. It's good.
So shall we carry on?
Yes, yes, yes.
So Srila Prabhupada in his purport to Bhagavad Gita 14.6 describes the Brahmana as a person in a mode of goodness, wiser than others, not affected by material miseries, having a sense of advancement in material knowledge, and therefore having greater sense of happiness. So yeah. Because mode of goodness is characterized by happiness, right? Knowledge and happiness. So Brahman should be knowledgeable and Brahman should be happy, right? Not cranky old, guy who demands money for showing the deity. So that person is not a Brahmana, obviously. So if you come across such person, you know that he has position, but he doesn't have any qualification. So all other members of society should treat the qualified Brahmana as a spiritual guide. The Brahmana's qualities and instruction lead people to a pious life and God consciousness. So it's kind of natural, right? If someone has exalted qualities and very deep spiritual knowledge, then it's only natural that other people will be seeking such person's guidance. And this is what society requires, spiritual guidance. Prabhupada says, everything is there in the society except the head. That's why they run around like headless chicken. Head is missing. And that's why Prabhupada created ISKCON, to give head to the human society. So he expected all the devotees to be qualified Brahmanas to help people with spiritual knowledge and guidance. So the qualities of Brahmanas again, peacefulness, Shama. So real Brahmana is peaceful in all circumstances, calm, even when provoked, convinced that the Lord is always protecting him. He is fearless in executing his duties. He is not impulsive in reacting to criticism. I think Nabhinandan Prabhu has very good experience with that, as well as myself, as well as any devotee who takes any responsibility within Prabhupada's mission. It's really interesting, right? That if you do nothing, nobody wants to criticize you because it's not fun to criticize someone who is not doing anything. But as soon as someone takes the responsibility, then immediately there are so many people who wants to find fault in that devotee, right? Even other devotees, right? So maybe Nabhinandan Prabhu wants to say something about it.
I'm not qualified because I always react. I need to learn this peacefulness.
You continue your mission, that means you're quite equipoised, which is good.
I think Jayanti might have something else to say about that. But it's a fact, the Lord has been very, very kind. Somehow, he just allows us to continue with some sort of service. Thanks to the Vaishnavas like yourself, your blessings count for a lot. Your good wishes are always there. That counts for a lot.
Thank you. So yes, actually, it's very important point. Important, we can say, mindset to develop, or you know, we can say technique to learn, if you will, how to not react to criticism, because it's very difficult, right? Like, you know, when the Twin Towers came down in New York due to the terrorist attack 9/11, and so many people died, and there was a poll conducted, and the question the interviewers were asking people, what is your greatest fear in life? And natural expectation was that the answer will be, you know, death, another terrorist attack, you know, uncertainty, you know, this kind, you know, of answers were expected. But suddenly they were getting completely different answer. One answer stood up of all others. Majority of people had a very specific type of fear, which is completely disconnected from terrorism or death or, you know, these kind of things. And anyone knows which came to the top in the poll? Which kind of fear came to the top?
Ending up in a home care, a care home?
No. You will never believe it. It was fear of public speaking. Believe it or not, most people, you know, for them, it's better to die than to speak in public. Why? Because, you know, I might be criticized. I might say something wrong, and then people will be criticizing me. And so criticism, why it is so painful, why people would rather die than be criticized. And actually, this is the reason why so many people, they are not taking responsibility. They are afraid of doing things because they are afraid to be criticized. Because it's kind of moral assassination, right? People try to assassinate you morally, and that's more painful, you know, because subtle body for us is more important than human life than the gross body. So, and moral assassination attacks subtle body, attacks your ego. In this place. So, and because, you know, the pain we feel through the ego is so great, people are fearful of public speaking. Right. And many people are fearful of, you know, standing up and taking the responsibility and so many other things. And so criticism is basically inevitable, right? That there is one law which is very powerful in this world, and that law states that each and every action brings equal and opposite criticism. You want to do something? Get ready to be criticized. If you don't, you know, if you don't want to be criticized, then better die now. You know, the more you do, the more you'll be criticized. And so basically you have two choices in life. To either do nothing productive and criticize those who are doing something. And I mean, it's absolute law. It's unavoidable. Can you think of any leader, including spiritual leader, who hasn't been criticized? I mean, for us, the best example is Srila Prabhupada, right? Was Srila Prabhupada criticized? Heavily, heavily. He's still criticized. Did he care? No, he didn't. So how, because, you know, this fear of being criticized is one of the worst fears in our lives. And unless we step over that fear, we'll deprive ourselves of, you know, the most important service to the Lord, which is taking responsibility in his mission. And so how do we learn to be calm while we're criticized? So how do we shut down our false ego? And so the previous quote was saying that Brahmanas are always happy, right? So that means if we want to learn not to react to criticism, then we need to learn to be happy when we are criticized. You know, not just tolerate, but rejoice, celebrate that people are criticizing you, and you learn to celebrate that. How do you do that? Anybody wants to know how to do it? How to celebrate being criticized?
Yes.
It is very simple, because Mahabharata says that those people who criticize you, they take all your bad qualities on themselves and they give all their good qualities to you, right? So if you just meditate on this point, you will tell, bring it on, you know, criticize me as much as you can, because then that will serve as a blessing, right? I'll get all your good qualities and you can enjoy my bad qualities. So, and so, you know, those people who are criticizing you, they're actually empowering you. They are your best friends. Even though it sounds very strange, right? For the false ego, it sounds very strange, but from spiritual standpoint, it's a reality. That's why, you know, great devotees like Srila Bhakti Saraswati, they were enjoying being criticized and attacked. Like Srila Bhakti Saraswati was giving public discourses, and one man, he would always raise his hand and he would always, you know, ask very challenging questions, and which was kind of annoying to the disciples. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was always peaceful and calm, and he was, you know, refuting his challenges in a very systematic way. But all the disciples were fuming with rage, right? And then they were praying to Krishna so that he would, you know, do something with this fault finder. And I suppose at one point their prayers were heard and the guy died. The fault finder died. And then all the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they were celebrating. They had a big program connected to the demise of this guy. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was very surprised, you know, what's happening. He looked at the calendar. There is no festival, but then, you know, such a joyful kirtan is going on. And so then he came and he was asking his disciples, what's happening? And they said, you know, that fault finder, finally he died. And so we're celebrating. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, this is my very sad day because my best well-wisher left this world. Yeah. So this is how we're supposed to react to critical people, you know, instead of thinking, oh, they are envious because they're not really doing what I'm doing, and they're envious of me, and they're trying to bring me down by their criticism. But this is the talk coming from the false ego, right? So we should replace this talk with the meditation on the spiritual level. Okay, Krishna is helping me by sending me all these people to empower me in my service to Guru Krishna and Vaishnavas. They are giving me all their good qualities and they're taking all my bad qualities. So all glories to them. And just carry on with your mission. All right?
Maharaj, when I introduced you, I was saying how every time I hear you, you make a change in my mindset, and again, really, you've done it. So there you go. You really are empowered.
Thank you. Yeah. And also, I wanted to address, yeah, we want to be practical, you know, because devotees need some tips for succeeding in their life and in their spiritual practice. So a real Brahmana is peaceful in all circumstances. So peaceful means not affected by anger and not irritated, even then when there are causes for irritation, right? And I suppose at least some of you or most of you would want to know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Anyone wants to know the trick, the tip, how to stay calm in the storm? So just for a second, we'll have to stop sharing this slide because I wanted to show you another very important picture, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll have to find this thing.
Just while you're finding, Maharaj, I wanted to share,
Yes.
well-wisher. It really resonated well because I remember when Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Krishna Swami Maharaj, passed away. I felt my only well-wisher has gone because he used to criticize all the time. Of course, it was not criticism; it was his guru's duty to correct the disciple. But it's always very hard on the false ego. But you know, he would explain as well that I'm only chastising you for your own good, and you feel that that affection, you know, feel the chastisement. And then when he left, you know what you just said, you know, the well-wisher. You know, I really felt my well-wisher has gone. So just wanted to share that.
Sure. Yeah, it's very good point. Yeah, a guru is also chastising us for our benefit. He's always helping us. Okay, let's see. Anyway, let me share this. So, there was one other slide. Anyway, so you can see.
Yes.
This is called Bala Asana. This is part of yoga exercise, right? Is it reminding you of anything we do in our tradition, as well as something which is done in many spiritual traditions, religious traditions? What it reminds you? It's Panchanga Namaskar, right?
Yeah.
Bowing down.
Paying obeisances, yeah.
Yes. But funny enough, this is one of the most powerful yogic asanas for controlling your temper.
Mm.
And the secret, I'll tell you the story which I learned from Shivananda's biography, which is very interesting. You know, Shivananda, Swami Shivananda, very famous yoga teacher, classical impersonalist, actually kind of a personalist which Prabhupada would appreciate because he was not like Mayavad type. He was just Brahmavadi, right?
Mm.
And so sometimes Brahmavadis can also become devotees.
Mm.
And so he told his life story. He was a young man and he had very hot temper. And he was thinking what to do. And then he started practicing yoga. And then his yoga teacher told him something he disliked. So he ran home and he got a rifle and he ran back to the yoga school and he pointed, you know, loaded rifle at his teacher, ready to shoot him. And the teacher said, smiled, and he said, I can see you have a lot of problems with anger. But don't worry, I'll give you one very powerful yoga asana, which will help you to stay calm in any situation. And he said, this asana is Bala asana, or Shashanka asana, sometimes it's called different names. But, you know, because Shashank means moon, so half moon pose, or Balasana because this is the pose of the child in the womb of the mother, right? And so what's happening? We have adrenaline glands in the body. And the adrenaline is in charge of the mood. If you have mood swings, on chemical level, it is caused by adrenaline. Excess adrenaline is creating what they call fight, flight, or freeze, or fight, flight, or fright response, right? And so basically, because, you know, like anger and fear, they are the two sides of the same coin, right? Because of fear, people have anger, you know, like in military science, they say best defense is offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is caused by excess adrenaline in the blood. I mean, if you feel like anger, for example, you can feel it physically, right? That the kind of wave comes up and covers you over. That's adrenaline, basically speaking. And so this is excess adrenaline, but then lack of adrenaline is causing depression. So I'm sure you don't want to be depressed and you don't want to be fearful and you don't want to be angry. So what do you need? You need to have your adrenaline normal. And how you do it? Here is your secret, balasana.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, this is how we're supposed to start our day, right? Nabhinandan Prabhu will tell you what is the first and foremost thing we're supposed to be doing when we wake up in the morning.
Pay obeisances to Mother Earth.
Yeah. To also to Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnavas, right? And what should be our meditation? Get blessings for the day, right?
Yes.
Because we can succeed with whatever we do only with blessings. I mean, we can make the effort, but if blessing is not there, it will not happen, right? And so devotees do that, but they do it haphazardly, in a rush, in a very unconscious way. So, you know, it's not really working. If you do it like that, inattentively and improperly, this is the proper way to do it. And you have to take your time, few minutes in the morning, meditate on the blessings from Guru, Krishna and Vaishnavas. The only counterindication is high blood pressure. Then you might need yoga instructor who would help you to, do it in a safe way.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it, but otherwise there are no counterindications. And so a few minutes in the morning, just stay like that, meditate on the blessings for your service, pray for your blessings. And then in the evening, right, before you go to bed, same thing. What do? You offer all the results of your services again to Guru, Krishna and Vaishnavas for their pleasure, right? So that's your evening prayer as well. Okay?
That's really good. Maharaj, I wanted to ask you, when we do the full dandavats, is that the same or not have the same impact as this?
Oh no, full dandavats is different. It has different effect. That for controlling the mood swings, that's the best method of all. So if you want to be cool as cucumber, practice your balasan or panchangasan, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, oops, somehow, yeah, I should stop sharing that, right? Okay, so we've got something in the chat.
Oh yes, so if any devotees would like to ask questions, you can ask. Maharaj, I don't know when you like questions.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, the devotees just sending their dandavat pranams, my pranams, dandavats to all of you as well. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll address them as they come. All right. So hope that was
really helpful.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
All right, so back to our slideshow. Yeah, so we've addressed peacefulness and being not impulsive towards criticism. Okay, so next point. Bhagavad Gita 271 states, a person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of all ego, he alone can attain real peace. Yeah. So Prabhupada commands that desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness, and that a materially desireless person knows that everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasimidam sarvam, and therefore he does not falsely claim proprietorship over anything. Somehow,
A real Brahman is peaceful in all circumstances because having surrendered to Krishna, he is assured of Krishna's protection. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, that's 529, the last verse of chapter 5, Krishna gives the formula for peace. And then that's the next slide, is the peace formula.
Okay, yes. Bhaktaram yagya tapasam saroloka maheshwaram suridam sarubhatanam gyatvam shantim richati. Person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. A Brahmana who understands the purpose of this text is not only peaceful himself, but also spreads peace all around him. He teaches the essence of peacefulness from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other bona fide scriptures. So something in the chat. Let's see. I cannot access the chat while.
Let me have a look. No, I don't think there is anything, Maharaj, unless somebody sent it to you direct. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, this is a very important verse. And just a few words on this peace formula. So Bhaktaram, the Supreme Lord is Bhakta, right? What's the difference between us and God? He is Bhakta and I am Bhakta. Right? He is the enjoyer and I am the one who provides enjoyment, right? And how is he enjoying? By yagya and tapasya, right? And I supposed to do yagya and tapasya. What is the most important yagya in our lives? Starts with san, kirtan, yagya. So chanting of the holy name is the most important yagya. And tapasya?
Ekadashi.
Well, it comes a little later. Of course, Ekadashi is part of it, but the first tapasya is to abstain from sinful activities, right? 4 eggs, following 4 eggs. That's why if you look at this first line, first initiation means 16 rounds minimum every day, and tapasya 4 Pragata principles, right?
Yeah.
16 and 4. So this is how we can please the Supreme Lord. First step. And then Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is the proprietor of everything. And what does it mean? How should we act in order to acknowledge Krishna's lordship, proprietorship? Understanding, like practically showing that he is the boss. He is the boss, I am Das. That's the difference between me and Krishna, right? So how do we show practically, how do we acknowledge Krishna's supremacy? Everything belongs to him, right? So how should we show?
Using it in his service, using everything we have in his service.
Yes, offering everything to Krishna. That means starting with food, right? That we should not eat anything which is not offered to Krishna, right? Yagyashit sasanam santo muchanti sarokil bishai, as Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So Brahmana means no eating out anything which is not prasadam, which is not offered to Krishna, right? Unless there are emergency circumstances, but this is exception. But the rule should be, I'm only cooking for Krishna and I'm only taking or honoring what, was offered to Krishna, right? So that's very important, Brahminical rule. If you want to be Brahmana, starts with eating, right? Eating habits have to be reformed. So, and then offer everything to Krishna. Basically, Prabhupada was saying that temples are the models by which everyone should mold their lives. So, for example, every temple has donation box in front of the deities, right? In front of the altar. So what's happening when people are putting money in the hundi, in the donation box? Actually, this money is offered to the Supreme Lord, right? Because everything belongs to him. If you remember in Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada says there is a very ancient Sanatan tradition when, the managers of the temple, they come to the Lord and they report to him, my dear Lord, so much money has been collected and so much money we've spent for your pleasure, right? So that's acknowledging the Lord's, supremacy, that he's the boss. And so actually we're supposed to live our lives like that at home also. Like whatever money you have, whatever everything, cash or whatever, electronic transfers, whatever you gain from monetary transaction as your salary or profit from business, just do a very simple thing. Take it, go to the altar and offer it to Krishna and say very simply that thank you very much for sending me Lakshmi, and please bless me so that I would use it only in your service and for your pleasure. Very simple act. But you will see, if you do that regularly, probably some of you already do that, because I always recommend this. And I'm always following that myself. I've learned that from my spiritual master. And I've noticed that money stopped getting misspent or lost, right? Because it becomes Krishna's money, and then he's looking after that. And of course, then you become very conscious of spending every penny or dollar or whatever currency you're using, right? So that's Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, offering everything to Krishna, very important part. And then Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Krishna is the friend of everybody, right? The best friend, Srila Prabhupada says. How do we acknowledge that fact? Anyone knows?
By sharing the Lord,
Yes.
sharing his teachings.
Yes, because Krishna is everybody's friend. We come to people, we say, you actually have the most powerful friend, not just in the world, but in the entire creation, and that is the Supreme Lord, right? And so he can, really help you in your life. And Krishna really likes it. Krishna really likes when we connect other people to him. And so if Gyatva, one who knows that, one who knows me, Gyatva Mam, one who knows me in these three ways, that I'm the supreme enjoyer, proprietor, and friend, Shantim Richati, he attains peace and actually, what's that? Peace from the pangs of material miseries. It's very interesting, right? Because material miseries are also threefold. Adhyatmik, Advibhautik, Adidaivik. And so if you follow this threefold formula, you become free from three types of material miseries. Very powerful verse. All right. Nabinandam Prabhu, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you for sharing that. That was a really nice, very practical way of sharing that verse. I haven't heard that before, so really, really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. But would you like to add something from your side?
No, Maharaj. You covered it very beautifully.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So self-control, Dhamma. A Brahmana exhibits self-control in his attitude, behavior, and talks with others. Austerity of speech consists of speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So I don't know how fast we are moving. We're supposed to cover everything today, right?
As much as you can, Maharaj. The space you're going is good, I think, because this topic needs to be done peacefully, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, without rush, right? Russians are known for rushing. Okay, so we won't be rushing today. Even though I am in Russia right now. Okay, so yeah, this is a very important verse actually, 17:15 Bhagavad Gita. because this is the first thing, right, that Upadeshamrit or Nectar of Instruction recommends, Vachavegam, that controlling the speech. And so this is exactly how you do it, right? If anyone wants to know how to control the speech, this is the way. Anudvega karam bhakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva manmaya tapochyate. So first thing for controlling the speech, austerity, exhibiting austerity of speech, is to learn how to say something which is satyam, truthful, but then priyam also. Priyam means nice or pleasing. And actually, it's not just Sanatan culture. As we know, Prabhupada says Sanatan Dharma was widespread all over the world at some point of time, right? And so you can still see the remnants of that culture in different countries. And I was thinking that UK is very famous for the gentleman's culture, right? And Prabhupada would always say that devotee means gentleman, right? And so actually we could learn few tips and tricks from British, cultured British people. They really, I mean, some of them really mastered that art, how to say things which are truthful, but pleasing at the same time, right? Because it's pretty hard for most of us, right? If we want to say something which is truthful, probably it will not be pleasing. And if we want to say something pleasing, probably it will not be truthful. So how do we combine these two, right? That's real austerity, right? That's why it says, Vanmaya tapa uchyate. That's real austerity. To figure that one out. But yeah, I think we can learn from British that, because I was not aware of all the subtleties of British culture before I came to the country, but once I started spending time there, and especially like doing book distribution and interacting with people, I've seen really surprising that some of them are real experts, like, British way of dealing with someone who is wasting your time, right? They like talking to you for a long, long time and you don't know how to, like stop this conversation. But British way is like really powerful. That, if you're just wasting some of the British person's time, he will tell you, thank you very much. But actually, I know you are a very busy person. I don't want to hold you back from doing, your important duties. I'm sure you have many more important things to do rather than talking to someone like me. Please go ahead. That's really amazing. I was like, wow, blown away by this approach, Basically, like letting you know that you went overboard, but they don't do it in a challenging way. They do it in a very polite way. I mean, probably Nabhinandan Prabhu and Jayanti Mataji and few more devotees who lived in UK for a long time, they can tell some other examples of British tricks, how to say things which are truthful, but at the same time they are pleasing. Yeah. Can you think of any examples off the top?
I can think of, no, but like you were sharing about how Sanatana Dharma is spread throughout the world. I heard that Socrates at one point somebody came to him, rushing towards him, saying, "I've got something to tell you." And Socrates said, "Okay, before you tell me what you want to tell me, is it truthful? And is it true? Is it true?" And he said, "I'm not sure if it's true or not." So then Socrates said, "Okay, the next test, we'll park that one aside. We'll test, the next test is it pleasing? Is it pleasing what you're going to tell me? Am I going to be happy hearing it?" He said, "No, you're not going to be happy." Okay. So then the third thing was, what are you going to tell me? Is it going to help me? Is it going to be for my benefit? So the man said, "No, it's not going to be for your benefit either." So this man said, "Well," Socrates said, "I don't want to know then. Go and tell somebody else." So it's quite interesting how, I don't know whether Socrates had access to the Bhagavad Gita, but certainly the test, that's a really interesting test. Is it truthful, pleasing, beneficial? It's a nice test to apply when somebody comes and wants to do some gossip or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
In terms of British, is there any other devotees who would like to share? I mean, Dr. Rampal, he's got so much experience. Would you like to share anything from the British culture that we can learn?
Haribol?
Hare Krishna. Kamachi.
Just wanted to say, Maharaj, the Britishness has, I think, the way of having a British Empire. I think they were successful because of the way they are. Do you think?
Very cunning. Oh, this is the question or statement?
She's asking.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely, absolutely. I mean, without, learning the culture of dealing, how would they be able to control so many people? Actually, Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada said, British, they had control for such a long time because they knew how to deal with people. Okay, so nobody else is contributing to that. I think that would be interesting, exchanging.
It would be.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can think of a few other things in this regard.
Go on.
One is, Prabhupada was using sometimes these Akbar Birbal stories, which are very popular, of course. And so one day, Akbar saw a dream. And in this dream, he saw that very strange dream. He saw that all his teeth fell out and there was only one tooth remaining in the mouth. So he woke up and he called the Brahmana who was interpreting dreams. They have this Swapna Shastra, right? And so he was asking, what's the meaning of this dream? And the Brahmana said, Your Majesty, this dream means that you will see all your relatives, all your family members die in front of you, and you will be the last one to die. So the fallen out teeth, all your family members, and the remaining tooth is you. That's the meaning of the dream. Akbar didn't like this explanation at all, and so he put this Brahmana in jail. It's really difficult dealing with rulers. You get the best, but you might get the worst if you do something wrong, if you say something wrong. Anyway, that Brahmana ended up in jail. And then Akbar is calling another Brahmana to interpret his dream. And the second one knew what happened with the first one. And so Brahmana is supposed to be truthful. But, there is only one explanation of the dream. And so he knows, if I lie, I'll be caught lying and I'll be punished. If I tell the truth, I'll go to jail as well. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. So what to do? But then this Brahmana, somehow he knew Birbal can help, right? Because Birbal is so smart. And so then he goes to Birbal and he says, what do I do? And Birbal says, don't worry. Just tell the truth, but tell the truth according to Bhagavad Gita 17:15. And then Brahman says, okay. So he told him, he instructed him. And then Brahmana goes to the Akbar and he says, Your Majesty, it's very nice dream, because that dream means you will have such a long life that you will outlive all your family members. Your longevity will be the greatest. Congratulations. And Akbar was so happy. He gave him a lot of rewards and cows and gold and whatnot. And so that's the power. Same thing, same truth. But he stated it in a positive way. That's the trick. That instead of focusing on negative, focus on the positive. I remember, of course, you need to kind of be always mindful of that and practice that conscientiously. That's the austerity, but this is what Bhagavad Gita recommends anyway. And it would be good if we learn that. Culture of speech, speaking like cultured people, learning the top spiritual culture. And, sometimes people do that even in business, because good speech inspires people and it's profitable for businesses as well. Like one airline, low-cost airline, before, like once people were bored on the plane, and the low-costers, they don't have these screens for watching whatever, and other things, it's very basic service. So the attendant is supposed to explain to people that, everything will be very basic. They should not expect much luxury because it's low coster. But instead of doing that, he says, we're, happy to see you on board. And now for the entertainment of the flight, we have plenty of it. If you want to be entertained, instead of just, staring at the back of the seat in front of you, stare at your neighbor and to your neighbor. Entertain yourself as much as you want. So we have much better option for entertainment on our flight. And smoking is actually allowed on the flight, but not inside the cabin. If you want to smoke, step out of the cabin, and smoke on the fresh air and come back. Like that. And so, he was giving all these tips, all these points in a very funny way. And, he kind of conveyed the message. And so he also entertained people like that. So, if we learn this art, we can combine something which is useful with something which is pleasing as well. And yeah, so few points on this 17:15. And you can see, like Bhagavad Gita itself is the best example of culture of speech. Like one example I can think of is, when after Arjuna went through all his, rant in front of Krishna, about what is dharma, what is adharma, and blah, blah, blah. And then Krishna smiles and listens to Arjuna, right? And then one of the first things he says is Ashochanan Vashochastvam Pragyavadascha Bhashase Gatasumagatasum Shanonushachanya Pandita. And which basically, you know, means that while speaking the learned words, you are mourning of something which is not worthy of grief, because the wise lament for neither living nor the dead. And then Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that actually Krishna indirectly calls Arjuna a fool because he is lamenting, right? But is he using the word fool in this verse? He doesn't, right? He just gives him a hint. He says, Arjuna, you're lamenting, but wise people are not lamenting. So what's happening? So it's like, you know, one of the good examples of austerity of speech. You know, of course, the Supreme Lord, he is the most cultured person of all. So he instructs that, and then he shows the example of that as well.
That's good.
All right. So if you want to add something, you're always welcome.
Thank you much. No, that's good. That's good.
All right. Time-wise, what was the plan?
It's you could finish in about 15 minutes and then see if there's any questions. Take any questions.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. So let's move on. So Srila Prabhupada writes, self-control means that one should not accept anything which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. One should get accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress. Bhagavad Gita 13:8 purport. Okay, that's pretty clear. Self-control, as applied to a married Brahmana, also refers to his following the scriptural restrictions on sex. Have children to bring them up in Krishna consciousness and perform Shraddha for the forefathers. The scriptures emphasize the duty of the son. That's also pretty clear. If you, I mean, since I'm not a married Brahmana, probably I'll let you say something on this.
At the moment, Maharaj, it's the period of Shraddha for 16 days from the 2nd of September. So we've looked at this actually, and generally, I mean, Prabhupada is very clear that a surrendered devotee has no longer to worry about any debts, including the debt to the forefathers, because he's serving the Supreme Person, the root of the tree, so the whole tree will be nourished. He doesn't have to do anything. But of course, apart from yourself, Maharaj, everybody on this call is basically entangled in this world. We're all entangled. So there, for us to say that we chant 16 rounds and we follow the rules, and that's enough, is we don't have to do any Shraddha for our forefathers, don't have to worry about any of those ritualistic activities, may not be appropriate. So we're finding that actually to do this can be done in conjunction with Krishna consciousness, to perform the Shraddha ceremony. Because what we're doing is offering our bhoga to the Supreme Lord, and then offering it to the forefathers. So if some people may not be offering their bhoga anyway, at least it encourages them. Offer your bhoga, offer the food that you cook, and then all you have to do is offer that to the forefathers. And you are fulfilling your duty as son or as a family member to your forefathers. So in that way, you're doing two things at the same time. You're becoming a little bit more Krishna conscious, but at the same time, you're repaying some of the debt that you owe to the forefathers. So it's interesting. generally didn't bother looking at Shraddha with any particular detail. But now that we found that actually this will help us in our progress towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because we're also helping our forefathers if there's any problems with any of them, perhaps having a ghostly body or some obstacle in their path. Offering this Shraddha is a duty, but it's also an act of love that you're helping somebody on their way towards the Supreme Lord. So up to now, I think we've just sort of ignored, not completely ignored, but not put any sort of emphasis on it. But now we're just realizing that actually we're not surrendered souls. We're not meeting any of these 8 symptoms of a Jivan Mukti. So we need to do this Shraddha. We need to help ourselves, and we also at the same time helping others. So that's interesting thing that we've sort of found out over the last few days.
Yeah. I also heard that once you offer this prasadam to the forefathers, you're not supposed to take it yourself, but you give it to some animals, right?
Oh, is it? Okay. Because we heard that. You feed it to the birds. Yeah, you feed it to the birds.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we'll double check on that. That's a good point, Raj. In terms of self-control, brahmachari, I remember Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he said, I would have hundreds of children if I could guarantee that they would become Krishna conscious. But he remained a brahmachari all his life, and a sannyasi, of course. So that's quite interesting. So self-control in this aspect is having regulated sex life in order to produce children who are going to be Krishna conscious. At least we make the effort, and then the rest, what can we do? It depends on the karma of the child and the desires of the child.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's my excuse. Because if I want to help any children to become Krishna conscious, there are like tons of children in this world already. I don't need to contribute to that.
Yeah. And actually, Maharaj, it's a really challenging. It's so challenging. There was somebody, a pujari who came from Mayapur, and he said to us, by looking at our lives, he's inspired not to have any children. He's married. He's inspired not to have any children, because even if you bring children up in a Krishna conscious atmosphere, the Western influence is so heavy that you just can't guarantee it's going to go in the way that you were expecting it to go. And that's a good thing, actually, Maharaj. It's a good thing when the children don't meet your expectations, because the detachment takes place. Krishna helps you to become detached. So, because if the children do exactly what you say, you develop that attachment, it remains in attachment. Even they may be Krishna conscious, you're still attached to your children. And that's always going to be a hurdle. You're going to come back again and again. So in one sense, having a family and children is a good thing, because you know you don't want to do it again. No more children, no more. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, marriage is damage. We used to always laugh, and actually that's what it is, because you're just entangling yourself more and more. But unfortunately, this is not taught at a young age, where even within ISKCON necessarily, because it's not taught that actually brahmachari life is a good thing. I remember Radha Govind Swami, no, it's not Radha Govind. who's the other Swamiji in Bengali Swami Guru? I've forgotten his name now. No, the other one who's still
Swami.
Swami. He would say to maybe his disciple, but others as well, don't get married. Even if you have to use somebody, don't get married. Because later on you lose your sexual appetite, and at least you won't be having marriage. You won't be there's no commitment. There's no there's no obligations. There's no attachments, and you just carry on as brahmachari. And the more that's preached, I think the better, because as you said, there's so many children already. If you want a child, adopt a child. And in Krishna consciousness, we're so fortunate, nowadays so many people are looking for their children to become Krishna conscious. We've set up 3 classes now, one for children from 5 till 8, one from 8 till 13, and then 13 onwards. And we're finding that the children are so good in terms of wanting to absorb Krishna consciousness. And it's very enthusing for us. So why have children when you can actually enthuse the children who are already there?
Yeah, it's true.
So I completely understand what you're saying and accept what you're saying.
Yeah. I also heard that it's not actually true that married people live longer. It just feels like that.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell devotees, Maharaj has so many jokes and an amazing sense of humor. I remember one class at one lady's house. I think you must have told about 50 jokes, all in relation to Krishna consciousness. But it was like one joke after the other. Everybody was just laughing and laughing and laughing. But it was such an instructive class because through the laughter, we were learning so much. So, okay. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you. So let's see if there are any questions, because
Yes.
we kind of finished with self-control, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A
little bit more on self-control. Okay.
It's
Maybe we can read that one.
It's just repeating, I think, anyway. It's just repeating, man. It's okay.
Okay, let's finish reading this and then we can address if there are any questions. Without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instruction of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.24. Self-control means that one should not accept anything which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. One should become accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress. This is real renunciation. The senses are so strong that they are always anxious to have sense gratification. One should not cater to these demands which are not necessary. The senses should only be gratified to keep the body fit, so that one can discharge the duty in advancing in spiritual life. But
the
I
most important.
heard.
Yeah, sorry. No, go on.
Yeah, I heard one interesting instance when one Prabhupada disciple came to him, and this disciple was pretty chubby. And he came to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, I want to take sannyas. And Prabhupada looked at him, turned to his secretary, and he said, fat, but not fit. So that's why he says that keep the body fit so that one can discharge his duty in advancing spiritual life. The most important and uncontrollable sense is the tongue. If one can control the tongue, then there is every possibility of controlling the other senses. The function of the tongue is to taste. Can you?
And to vibrate. And to vibrate. Therefore, by systematic regulation, the tongue should always be engaged in tasting the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, good.
Thank you.
So let's see. Thank you. Let's see if there are any comments, questions, suggestions, complaints.
Oh, there is. Amita Krishna, you can speak to Maharaj. Unless he's got.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hi.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj.
Dandavats.
Very, very, very nice class. Very practical examples you gave. It was wonderful. Just a couple of questions regarding criticism. I understand if a devotee criticizes another person, another devotee, you said the person who's been criticized, the good karma goes to that person, and the bad karma goes to the person who's criticizing. So, and how to keep calm and do the asana, as you said, in the humble way. But how can you overcome that criticism, and how can you get those two devotees to work with each other and speak to each other and get along?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Very good question. Actually, I'm part of ISKCON Resolve as well, and I've been practicing mediation and conflict resolution for over a decade by now, probably like more than 14 years by now already. And yeah, I mean, basic reason why people, clash with each other is because they want to speak, but they don't want to listen to each other. It's like they are not interested in Shravanam, only Kirtanam. But this is not, unfortunately, Krishna Kirtanam, it's ego Kirtanam. They want to glorify themselves, promote themselves. So basically speaking,
Is that?
It's lost.
Yeah, we've lost you, but. Can anybody else hear Maharaj?
No, can't. I think yes.
No problem.
No, can.
Okay. Hopefully.
the mediator's job.
Oh no, he's just gone. He should be back shortly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Maharaj. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So something
Yes.
happened to the connection. Anyway, that we've got everybody on the call.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So basically speaking, if you like to learn mediation and help devotees like that, that could be very useful, actually, because it's either we help devotees to agree with each other or help them to agree to disagree, at least, because there are instances like that. Like Prabhupada said, if you cannot agree, then just, work separately. I mean, it doesn't stop the mission. But as long as devotees are not like holding onto grudges or resentments against each other, that's the most important thing, right?
Yes.
Because it's like relationship with devotees, that's the most important thing, because it's like whatever we do, all the results will stay in this world, but relationship will be carried over to the spiritual world. And so if you have problem with someone, how can you go to the spiritual world? You wouldn't want to see that person's face. Right? So That's really important, that we don't have any grudge or resentment or, you know, any type of negativity against anyone, what to speak of the devotees. I mean, everyone has their bad days or bad months or even bad years. What to do? That's material conditioning, but you know, that's their problem. And most important thing is that we don't make other people's problem into our own problem. Like that. And so as long as we can help people with understanding this point, how to be independently thoughtful, as Prabhupada wanted, you know, devotees can be successful. And because Kali Yuga is the, you know, age of quarrel and hypocrisy, I think it's pretty useful for us to learn the basics of conflict resolution as well. So thank you. Very good question.
So to stay calm, basically, and try and get on. So basically,
Yeah. You know, it's like, just ask yourself a question: why other people's problems have to affect me? You know, let them have their problems, and I have enough of my own problems to worry about other people's problems.
True. True. One more question, Brad. You said about eating out. You shouldn't eat out if it's not offered to the Lord. So if we go to some relation's house and they haven't offered what they've cooked to the Lord and it's offered to us, can we, in our minds, before we eat it, offer it to the Lord and then eat it, or we shouldn't eat that either?
Well, it depends on circumstances, I mean, and depends on your level of relationship with your relations. Basically, you know, with my mother, I was pretty stern. I told her, unless you cook and offer everything to Krishna, you know, and of course cook only pure vegetarian, I won't be eating anything you cook. So she was forced.
Right.
And then she became a devotee.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yes.
so it depends on the circumstances, I suppose. Maybe Nabhinandan Prabhu can say something about it as well, because family people have to face that much more often than us renunciates.
I think if you're going to a relative's home and if they do offer it, they offer it to you, they don't offer it to the Lord. I think, and you want to maintain that relationship, I suppose, then within your mind, definitely you should offer it. Whether the Lord will accept it or not, that's up to him. But at least you can make that offering within your mind to the Lord, that please, this is in no way the best way to offer to you, but my dear Lord, this is the situation I'm in. Please help these people so that they can come closer to you. But in the meantime, accept what they've cooked. And of course, I mean, what did we used to do? Because we used to go before to lots of relatives' houses, and we would have to do the same. Luckily, they would never cook with onion and garlic, and they were all vegetarian. So that was a very, very good thing. So otherwise, we would explain to them that actually it's we would take books with us, leave a book or two there for their looking at it later on, and obviously not push it too fast on them, because they'll think you're just preaching, and preaching to relatives is always challenging anyway. They're not going to necessarily listen to you, but they listen to Prabhupada. So leaving them a Bhagavad Gita, leaving them some books will definitely have some impact in the future. And who you never know, Krishna will also make a change in their heart. Next time you go, they might have offered that food, and then you'll be taking prasad.
That's true.
Like Jayanti's mother, you look at the example.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't offer initially because they didn't have that concept. So when we used to go, then I would offer it because my mother would allow me to do that, and then slowly they started also offering every day. So that in that way, they started that tradition. I mean, if it's a close person, like say a sister or something like that, maybe you can say, can I just offer that first? If you have that relationship with them, and then take it from there. See how what the relationship is like.
Yeah.
And that's a practical demonstration as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Makes sense. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else has a question for Maharaj? We're very lucky to have Maharaj. It's not going to be easy to get him again, although I will try. I'll keep trying. But one thing with Maharaj is you can see he doesn't rush, but he's very entertaining, but he's very instructive at the same time, and very practical. So this is really amazing. One of the most dynamic preachers in the Hare Krishna movement. So if anybody...
I'll take it as a blessing.
Of course, I'm an enemy to you because I'm not criticizing you. Maharaj, actually, I've got a point to make that you're too good. Oh, Gita, yes.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu and Maharajji. I was wanting to ask, you were showing about the yoga earlier on. And how long should we be doing the yoga for in the mornings?
Oh, the balasana?
Yes.
Yeah, right in your bed, that our standard is that from the point you woke up, right when you are in your bed, just do this asana and pray to Guru Krishna and Vaishnavas for the blessings of the day, and spend a few minutes like that.
Okay, lovely.
And
thank you.
Before going to sleep, do the same thing and offer everything good you've done for their pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Anybody else? Any questions for Maharaj? Any comments? Is Nani been there? Oh, she's not there.
Sorry, Prabhu, my mom just has a question or comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I haven't got a question or anything for you, but just I'm very impressed. Your Maharaj, the class was very enlightening, and we are very grateful and very nice to see you after such a long time. Little contact helps us. Please keep in contact all the time.
Hare Krishna.
I think it would be nice to have another class with yourself when you have time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Dr. Rampal, did you have a comment or question?
Prabhu, the understanding regarding the qualities of a Brahman is that these qualities come naturally as one develops in Krishna consciousness, and it's not the case that one has to specifically strive for the individual qualities.
All right, so that was the comment, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, yeah, following properly the process of Krishna consciousness, naturally helps to, develop all the qualities. But if we do it haphazardly or in a pensive way, then naturally, the qualities will not develop, because Chaitanya Charitamrita says that Bahujanme Kariyada Shravanam Kirtanam Tabutana by Krishna, was that Padupremadan, that one can chant Hare Krishna mantra, even the most powerful element of Krishna consciousness, it says, for millions of lifetimes, but never get even a drop of Krishna prema if one continues to commit offenses, right? And the root of all the offenses is inattentiveness in chanting and in the process of devotional service. So we are introducing, we are discussing these things to help devotees to become mindful and conscious of the important elements or details of devotional service, so that they could get the benefit. Like, for example, we've introduced that balasana to help devotees to understand that Panchanga Namaskar is such an important element, which gives us all the benefits if we do it properly.
And Maharaj, I suppose Krishna lists these qualities of the Brahman in the Bhagavad Gita. And we are, I suppose, aspiring to become Brahmins. We want to become Vaishnavas and devotees of the Lord. So like a 10-pound note already includes a 5-pound note. So our aim, if we become Vaishnavas, those qualities will naturally develop. But to know the qualities will presumably also help us, because knowledge is important. And to request the Lord to strive to become qualified in terms of our qualities will help us presumably on our path of devotion.
Yeah, that's true. And also, Chaitanya Charitamrita is so powerful, and it is so important for understanding the intricacies and all the fine details of Krishna consciousness. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami, he says, the Bhakti Lata, the plant of devotional service, the creeper of Bhakti, is growing in the heart. And then you water it with the water of Shravanam Kirtanam. But then what's happening? The anarthas are also growing, nourished by the same Shravanam Kirtanam. And the funny thing is that anarthas, or the weeds, they tend to grow much faster. And the weeds might look exactly like the plant, the Bhakti Lata plant. And that's why we require knowledge to distinguish the weeds from the Bhakti Lata. Otherwise, it's either our Bhakti Lata will be choked by the weeds, or we might by chance uproot our own Bhakti Lata.
That's a really nice point, Maharaj. I just wanted to. That's the Bhakti Lata Bridge. And this is where we are. The seed has been planted, as you were saying. Yeah. At one point, I would love to go through. There's so much I want to go through with you, Maharaj. But anyway, one day, one thing at a time, as Jayanti says, one thing at a time.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Any yes, Kaushalya, Mataji?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, Prabhu.
To Maharaj?
She's gone.
We lost you. Yes, Kaushalya, are you there?
Muted.
Oh.
She has to unmute herself.
Kaushalya, unmute yourself. Then we
Yeah,
can.
I have.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Very well, yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, if this is the Shraddha going on, so if we go Krishna temple and feed the Gau Matas, is that okay? For the name of, whoever passed away?
They are doing
Balaji, we actually did did you attend the seminar?
didn't.
Oh, you didn't attend the seminar on Shraddha.
No,
Yes.
I was working.
So I tell you what, we'll talk with you. Tomorrow you're free?
Tomorrow, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so I'll give you a ring. And because it's absolutely perfect to do Go
Mata.
Puja.
Yeah.
But Bhaktivedanta Manor are doing a wonderful thing.
They are doing it. Yeah, but only one person is allowed there, they said.
No, 2 people are allowed, and others can observe. Yeah, that's fine. But you have to book in in advance. But
that's what I was going to do this morning. But they saying they are only allowing one person to come.
If you check with the Eventbrite, it's 2 people. But,
is it?
Yeah, and you need to work out what tithi.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that same tithi you can go at the Bhaktivedanta Manor and do the thing. Or
do the thing.
The last day, which is the 17th of September.
Yeah.
You can do at that time, 17th of September.
On the last day. Okay, Prabhu.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll call you tomorrow anyway. Huh?
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for your help. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu's talk was very nice also.
Maharaj's talk was very good.
Maharaj is really very, very interesting. Thank you, Maharajji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Navi. Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's Madhusudan here. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Please accept my obeisance, Maharaj. It's nice to listen to you. I work along with Nabi in some of the sessions, but my question was that referring to Bhagavad Gita in 3rd chapter, when Krishna is saying, I've got the text here, it's far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. So that verse where he said, in the course of performing one's duties, better than engaging in another's duties than to follow another's path is dangerous. So when Krishna is recommending that, or even follow your path, I mean, this session is very much about encouraging people to develop Brahminical qualities and focus on that. And within Krishna consciousness, we're training Brahmins. But sometimes, according to this verse, it is, in this Kali Yuga, nearly everyone is like a Sudra mentality. And so how do we, Prabhupada obviously encourage, Brahminical qualities. So to bring that balance or encourage, how do you see it?
Well, I mean, Vaishnava culture is Brahminical culture. And that's why, regardless of the qualities one has, then everything should be done within the framework of Brahminical culture, right? And that's why, as much as possible, we should have those qualities. But then if we have another type of nature, we can also engage that in Krishna service. It's also fine.
Okay, so when we're training children within the education system, I know Prabhupada encouraged Gurukul type of system where it's easy to distinguish personality characteristics and personalities according to the Varna and ashrams and all. Then to fit their people and encourage them to develop those if they're practically inclined, craft and Vaishya and Sudra and all these different. But Kali Yuga, everything is topsy-turvy. We understand that, but so within education, how should we encourage that? within Gurukul system to train and?
Well, it's a very big subject, and I don't know how much time we have for that, but the basic idea is to encourage the devotees, as Prabhupada said, to be independently thoughtful, and because whatever is our nature, that will be naturally inclined to do, and we should be doing that for Krishna, whatever it is. And then the guides, the teachers, the leaders, ideally in Krishna consciousness, should be encouraging people to see what really inspires them and then help them to do that for Krishna.
So not always encouraging everyone just become a brahmachari or brahminical, but not exploit, but rather enhance their own qualities and engage them in those particular duties that can fit their personality would be better than, isn't it?
Yeah, if you please read the 7th canto, the last chapters on 4 social and 4 spiritual orders, then Srila Prabhupada talks about Brahmana's duties in regular and emergency circumstances. That is described there very nicely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Maharaj. That was very good. Thank you.
And that's this is the beauty of Varnashram, isn't it? That according to one's nature and qualities, you will act, and you will be acting in a progressive spiritual way. That's the beauty of Varnashram. So if somehow we can engage, everybody's going to be a Brahmin, not everybody's going to be Kshatriya, etc. But whatever the nature is, that's the way we can encourage them to go in that direction.
Yeah.
So thank you very, very much, Maharaj. We normally end with prayers of protection, especially, we do the Nashinga Kavach for Gopal Krishna Maharaj, we did it for Bhakti Swami, we do it for all the devotees who go undergoing some difficulties now. But I think today we're a little short of time. So I was thinking, Maharaj, if you would be able to lead the Nashinga prayers.
Okay.
And protect, if you have time, of course, for the protection of devotees. We do name some devotees, like actually Trikalagya. I don't know if you know him, Trikalagya and Tungavidya. They were in hospital. Now they've been there for 3 weeks, but today they have been allowed to go home, or yesterday. So they're on the path of recovery, which is really good news. But it's a long time before they will fully recover yet.
Oh, that's pandemic, that virus?
The virus, yeah, yes. That's right. They were hit with it. They're in Vrindavan. And actually, many devotees in Vrindavan had it, but had it particularly bad.
Mm.
And then Gopal Krishna Maharaj, of course, he's luckily a lot better now, which is great news. And we want to remember Roma's brother, Darius. Who else was it? Chitramanjari's husband. Hopefully she is better. Okay, if there's any other devotees that anybody would like to mention, please go ahead. Or it doesn't have to be devotees, anybody you know. Oh, Maharaj, actually, would you like to hear a very sweet devotee sing Nashinga prayers?
Sure, of course.
Bhakti, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, wow. Maharaj, she is our future preacher. Where
okay.
She is. Before you give us Nashinga prayers, can you give us a sloka, please, from the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes.
Which one?
Paritrānāya sadhūnā vinācāya tadisrita dharma samspāpamāt ya Sambhava Nitya Yuge Yuge. The meaning is, someone, I will protect devotees and fighting with demons, and to protect Dharma, and I will come million of million.
Haribo. Very nice.
Patram pushtam phalam toyam yo me bhakta ashtati tadaham bhakti uparata ashtami paratatmanaha. And another meaning is, someone offers me a leaf, a water, or a fruit, and accept, I will take, in the love and devotion, I will take and eat it.
Wow. Amazing.
She's the daughter of Gopal Ganashraya.
Haribo.
Yeah, very good. He's a disciple of Jayapatak Swami.
Yeah.
Very, very nicely training their daughter. So you can sing to Lord Nrsimhadev, and it's to protect devotees, okay? Yeah.
Namaste Narashingaya.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Pradayine. Hiranyakashi Pyuvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipu vaksha.
Shilatanka
Nakalaye.
Yato Nashinga Parato Onashinga.
Ito parto shinga.
Yato Yato Yam Tato Nashinga. He Nashinga Nitale He Nashinga. Tava kara kamala nakan abhuta shinga dalitari anyakashipu tanuringa Keshavadita narahari rupa Jajagadi Hare Jajagadish Hare Jajagadish Hare.
Avukara Kamalavare
Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Jai Jagadish Hari.
Nashingade
Nrsimhade Nrsimhade Jaya Nrsimhade. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada. Sarupa Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev.
Nittai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nittai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gora Hari Bol.
Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki
Jai.
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 Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Shri
Jai.
Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Gurudev ki
Jai.
Jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Rasayana Sagar Maharaj ki
Jai.
jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
I just wanted to introduce you to one devotee. Actually. Karuna Bandar, can you show yourself, please? This is Mataji. She lives in Mauritius and she leads the Nrsimha Kavach, but she's also been leading the
Hare
other.
Krishna.
Where are you? Where are you?
Accept my humble
Ah, there you are.
obeisances, Maharaj.
Very good. So she's been singing beautiful bhajans like the Radhika Astakam and the Rupa Manjari bhajan, which Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was listening to at the end of his time in this world. So really wanted you to bless her to continue with her wonderful, wonderful bhajans and Bhakti Yoga devotion. Very, very amazing devotee.
Hare Krishna.
As they all
Hare
are.
Krishna.
Looks like the best kirtaniyas are coming from Mauritius, like Madhav Prabhu.
Yeah.
Right.
Hare
And
Krishna.
this is
Hare Krishna.
Maitreya.
Thank you very much.
Maitreya Rishi, he's also very good kirtaniya. Sita Ram, Madhusudan Babu, you heard, Gopal, you, Dr. Rampal, he's a really good kirtaniya. So many nice devotees are in this group. And this devotee here called Ritesh, he's helping us with the children's side. He's really gathering the children together very, very nicely. And yeah, we've got, in half an hour, we've got the children's session now. So I'd like to thank you, Maharaj, for your time and
Hare Krishna. Thank
your
you.
guidance. Wonderful class. You made a change again in my mindset. Really, really appreciate. I might take you up on that ISKCON resolve, maybe. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Krishna Vani,
Hare Krishna.
all the way from Canada. Hare Krishna, good to see you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you very much for joining us. Huh? Okay. So thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you,
All
dear.
right.
Please. Hare,
Hare
Krishna.
Jai. All the best. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody.
Maharaj.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you,
Hare Bol.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Bhakti
Hare
Devi ki jai. Where is she?
Hare Krishna.
Yay. Here again.
Hare Bol.
Getting ready for the next
There
session.
she is. Hare Krishna.
Radharani.
Oh, she's showing off her Radharani there. Wow. Very good. Very good.
Jai.
Very sweet. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
I'll be in touch, Maharaj. I'll be in touch.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Pritam. Hare Krishna Bhakti.
Hare Krishna. Oh, lovely girl.
Yeah, she's good.
So
She's really
beautiful.
good.
So beautiful.
She
I
is.
think she's the Radharani.
She is. Yeah, she is.
Ah, I know.
Bhakti Devi means Radharani. Yeah, you're right.
Ah, that's sure.
Shanta, you still there?
Sorry?
No, Shanta, Paneshwar. Shanta. He's not there. I think he's gone. So, Krishnavani, thank you very much for joining. Okay.
It's my great pleasure. You gave me opportunity to attend Maharaj's